Hey everybody, this is Robert from Black Belt Gaming coming back to do a little more with the Marvel Heroic Role-Playing game. As I was going through the process of learning the game and sharing it with you, I went through some of the basic dice mechanics, how to roll the pool of dice and get your result and your effect die. And I went through Spider-Man's data file. There is more I could go into with the Doom pool and how that works, or at least how I am understanding it from the rules. But I thought I would jump in tonight. I promised you some time ago that I would try to give you some sample gameplay. And some of you have been asking, this game looks cool, but how do you play it solo? Is it even possible? Well, that's what I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to demonstrate some gameplay for you, and it's going to be solo gameplay. Over here I have a document printed out, and it's basically a line of boxes that help you run down the data file and select the appropriate dice for your pool of dice that you roll, your die pool. So I'm going to be using that, and then I'm also going to be using another little program to help me tell the story. That's how I'm going to be playing solo. I'm not going to talk a lot about the Watcher and the Doom pool, but it is going to be present. And the Doom pool, we're going to start it at its typical level of 2d6. So from time to time, the Doom pool may have an effect on our gameplay. And like I said, I'm not going to exactly try to teach about that this evening, but it might make a difference in the story here and there. So let's get started with a little story, a little solo game for Spider-Man. Well, right out of the book, we have a kind of a cool picture here of Spider-Man swinging through the city. So I'm going to say let's make up a little story here right from this picture. And let's say that Spider-Man is on patrol one afternoon, and he's in the heart of the city. And he's on patrol to see if there are any crimes in progress, if he needs to fight any crime this afternoon. So that's where we will start. All right, this little program here is going to help me play this game solo. It's going to somewhat take on the role of Watcher or Game Master. And I bought a PDF rule book of this this system, and this is a little program I've got on my tablet that helps you do it instead of rolling dice and referencing the notes in the book. This little program will do it for you. So I'm going to start the scene setup by typing in the player character, and that's Spider-Man. There are no other starting non-player characters. Spider-Man's on patrol by himself. But we need to focus here. Why don't we just, we'll keep it simple so we can move along quickly. We'll just type in patrol. He's on patrol in order to prevent crime in the city. Description, well, that's obviously, let's say it's afternoon. And let's type in the word city. And what else is in there in the scene description? Maybe tall buildings. And let's type in busy streets. All right, I think that's good enough. That gives us an idea of where we are. So, still trying to figure out exactly how to work this this device, but this should help me get some answers, some yes or no answers, or some keywords that will help me flesh out some scenes. So let's get started. Let's think of some questions. All right, well, right here in the question area, I just simply typed, are there any crimes in progress? And let's say that Spider-Man has gone to a part of the city that he knows has a bit more crime than usual. So we're going to take this from 50-50 And we're going to make it likely that there are some crimes in progress going on. So I think I've got this highlighted correctly, yes or no. Are there any crimes in progress? It's likely in this part of the city. Anything that he can see. And we have the answer, yes. Well, maybe we want some details on that. So let's type in kind of crime. And this might give us a really freaky answer, but sometimes it's cool to get some keywords to work off of. So we've witnessed a crime. What's going on? Oddly stereotypical familiarity. Wow. Let's see what we can do with that. Well, we can make up anything here, really. Something stereotypical, but that's not so common. It's oddly stereotypical. Why don't we say it's a criminal who was in prison and is back on the streets again, and in the process of committing another crime. And then familiarity, why don't we say that it's someone that Spider-Man has caught before and has put into prison. And why don't we just give this new NPC a name? Let's give this bad guy a name. We'll just call him Jim. So old Jim is back on the streets and trying to, what shall we say? Maybe he's armed and let's say he's robbing the, what should we say? Let's just say he's robbing the store. So old Jim is back on the streets, fresh out of prison, got himself a handgun, and he's once again trying to rob the local liquor store. All right, well, Spider-Man sees the crime in progress, and he's going to swing in and approach. And let's think of some other questions to ask. I guess I want to know approximately where Jim is and how I spotted him. Did Spider-Man see and recognize Jim through the glass windows and glass doors of the store? Or was Jim maybe on his way out holding his gun toward the cashier inside? I guess my question here is Jim inside? And since I spotted him while being outside, let's make it unlikely. But if the answer comes up yes, then Jim is inside still. He's still inside the store. So yes or no. Let's put this back on yes or no answer. No, Jim is not inside the store. He is now outside. So he is probably at the door, still pointing the gun toward the cashier inside. Jim's a repeat offender, but I haven't known him to necessarily be a murderer. So Spider-Man knows he needs to be caught and given a talking to and perhaps put away again here for armed robbery. So Spider-Man's going to go after him, and Spider-Man's going to make his approach. So the question we need to know here is, does Jim see Spider-Man? All right, I just typed in, does Jim see Spider-Man approaching? And I'm going to make that unsure. In fact, he's in the middle of a crime, pointing his gun to the cashier on his way out. I don't know. I guess he would be pretty alert to see if anybody would be looking. Let's keep it at 50-50. Yes or no? Does Jim see Spider-Man? Yes, he spots Spider-Man coming. So what do we do next? All right, Spider-Man's probably going to make a witty comment here and, you know, say something about Jim. There's Jim at it again. Didn't you learn the first time or the first 6 times or whatever? And we're going to ask the question, does Jim stop? Spider-Man's asking him to stay where he is. You know, don't make this tough on himself. And the question is, does Jim stop? Oh, low battery. Does Jim stop? Well, I would say it's probably very unlikely that Jim's going to stop. He's probably going to panic and try to run. He's obviously not a quick learner. So does Jim stop? Yes or no? No. Jim's going to try to make a run for it. I guess what we want to know here is Jim going to try to attack? So I just typed in attack Spider-Man. Does it look like Jim is going to aim his gun and attack Spider-Man? Well, we know Jim's not really a murderer, but is he going to panic and fire off some shots, maybe to try to scare away Spider-Man? Let's keep it 50-50. We're just unsure. We don't know. He's quite unpredictable. So, attack Spider-Man? Yes or no? Is he going to attack? Yes, he is. He's out of his mind. Maybe he's on drugs. So, here we go. We got a combat now. So let's start rolling some dice.